Here we are, my favorite show of the week, buddy. The show where you, the listener, do all of the prep. I love it. I get behind it. Welcome, everybody, to the Walk Off. I'm Scott Belford, joined as always by the best co-host in the biz, Adam Mack. Every single Tuesday, we do a Monday morning mailbag on a Tuesday afternoon where we comb through all of your discourse throughout the week. And we get to your comments, we get to your questions, we get to your thoughts. You can always reach out to us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. Our Discord continues to grow. By the way, a little tip of the hat to about the dozen of you that recently joined the Discord over the last week. We've seen a big influx in people coming in. So welcome to everyone. And a lot of these new folks have been pretty interactive, Adam. So that's always nice to see too. Sometimes those newbies, they're a little trepidatious to get right in there, right? But
Definitely.
yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see the newbies out there
Hey, you know what?
interacting.
It's a great place to hang out when Twitter burns to the ground. So,
That's right. Exactly.
all
Okay,
right.
so let's start with this. Just I guess almost an apology to those of you who we don't wind up touching on your comments and questions. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the fact that we're probably getting to about 5% of the interactions a week these days. It's just the channel's growing. So good and bad for those of you who have been with us right from the start and we're maybe used to getting your questions on every single week. We do also, by the way, with Patreon, if you're a member of our Patreon, you do get that little extra bump. We are going to make sure to get to any questions you may have. I know Wyatt reached out again today, so we're going to get to his question. And again, that's just one of the few little bonuses, if you will, to
Priority
supporting the channel on
questions.
Patreon.
Priority
Exactly.
questions. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get right to it, shall we, Scott?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, first and foremost, Yankees fans are the worst, and I just wanted to get that off my chest. We talked, I don't know, Aaron Judge and his free agency came up last week. I think it was the tampering
Yes.
conversation with
The
Cohen there
Mets
with
and
the
the
Mets and,
Yankees.
and everything
Yeah.
there. Um, we weren't planning to talk about Aaron Judge's agent necessarily, but we did. I think I asked if he was represented by Boris.
To which I
Yeah,
knew he wasn't and said
you knew he
no.
wasn't. You knew he wasn't, but you didn't know who specifically he was represented by. And Yankees fans were so intolerant of how
Of
stupid
our
we were.
ignorance.
Unreal. How dare you guys not know the agent of every single player in baseball? So we just got a load of comments like that. And it was just a reminder to myself that, the first 3 years of this show, we were 99.9% Blue Jays. And we've
What a
started to
cozy
branch
place
out
to
and,
be,
and
eh?
some, yeah, we're starting to cover some more stuff.
Supportive.
And
Yeah.
it's a scary world out there once you leave Canada. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
As we branch out from Blue Jays land, it is a little bit harsher conditions, if you will.
I I haven't seen these words since I was in like grade 6 from some of these comments I'm getting from Yankees fans. So very colorful language we're getting our way.
I
Anyways,
do love that comment. You guys don't know Aaron Judge's agent? Weird.
Yeah.
Is it? Is it weird?
Is it weird? We were talking this before we went live. I know Scott Boris by name. I know Rachel Lubin by name, and that's the list.
Yep.
That's my list of agents I'm familiar with. Um, but if that makes us oblivious and idiots on baseball, then you must be new to the channel if that's the only reason you think we're dumb at
Yeah.
this. All right, let's move on to a real question here. This is one we continue to get day after day. Comments like this one, which comes in from Art Vandelay, who, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, is a latex salesman.
Yes, that's right. Our Vandalay. Love it.
All right.
Little Seinfeld fan.
So, why on earth would you trade a stud like Kirk? Just trade Jansen. This is a question we get regularly. Obviously, you and I both love Alejandro Kirk, but
Yes.
we have both been on the team of he's probably the one that we're going to have to move. It just makes more sense to us in our uneducated lack of agent familiarity level knowledge of baseball.
Here's the thing, okay? This catching quagmire, if you will, is a good thing. It does suck as Blue Jays fans to look at Danny Jansen, a gentleman who has been with this team since 2018. He's got so much experience accumulated over those 5 years in managing a pitching staff, getting close with the guys, right? Being able to, within the moment, change the plan of attack on a hitter. This doesn't happen overnight. We've talked about a million times how experience can't be bought. It can't be magically put on or donned onto a catcher. You've got to go out there and play the games. And that's what Danny Jansen has done. Alejandro Kirk has been incredible, by the way.
Yes.
And he is one of the best offensive catchers in all of baseball. He was an all-star last year. He won a Silver Slugger. Everything I'm saying about Alejandro Kirk is meant with admiration and love for the dude. I'm not even saying he should be the one traded. Just when you look at the map out there, he just seems to make the most sense for numerous reasons. Trading, I would far rather Gabriel Moreno. If they're going to keep Kirk, personally, I would rather them move Moreno in that case. Think how, do you know, like, and I did this last month where I combed through every single World Series winning team of the last 10 years. And then I took their catchers and calculated their combined experience, years of experience. Okay. The team with the absolute least to have won a World Series was that Asterix Dodgers team in 2020. And they had Will Smith, who was in his second year, and then Austin Barnes as their backup with 7 years. So 9 years combined experience was the lowest amount of years of experience on a winning team, on a World Series winning team. Now calculate Gabriel Moreno, who's played 23 games, and Alejandro Kirk, who has 2 years of experience. It's not even close. It's not even scratching the surface. Now, I'm not saying, so what I'm saying, I guess, is if you are going to move Jansen, you probably still need to bring in another catcher. And then you're still in this 3 catchers to fill really 2 holes. Now, depending on how you want to operate with Moreno, I know that last game of the season was kind of cool to watch them play him in left field, play him in second base, move him over to third. Does he have the ability to do that? Maybe. He does have a few reps at third. He's got a few reps in left field in the minors, but for the most part, he's been a straight up catcher. So that's my opinion as to why Kirk would be the guy you would move. And I'm not even saying I'm right. I'm just saying, depending on what this front office values, a lot of front offices values experience behind the dish.
Yeah. By the way, if you're bored at home, do not Google 3 catchers, 2 holes. You will regret it. For me, Scott,
Okay.
what it comes down to is, and we talked about this article that we saw on MLB.com the other day with landing spots for Shohei Ohtani, right? The Blue Jays were ranked number 2 on this list. We posed the question, who's the untouchables for you as a fan in a bringing in Shohei Ohtani trade? And we got so many, we'll get to this later in the show, but we got so many comments that were like, I would trade Kevin Biggio, Lourdes
Gurriel
Gurriel
Jr. Yeah.
and some Adam Kloffenstein or something, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's never gonna get that done. Like so again, for me, where I land on Kirk is just, you have to look at it from the other team's perspective, right? Anybody who's going to want a catcher, like the years of control on Kirk is better than the years of control left on Jansen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the money you're going to have to pay on Kirk is, a lot more team friendly if you are a small market team who is on the outside of the playoffs looking in and you're not looking to compete anytime soon, right? Which is the only reason you would give up one of your star players in return, right? So
yeah,
That's what it comes down to for me. It just makes more sense. But again, if someone wants to give us more for Danny Jansen than they would for Alejandro Kirk, then sure, I would do that. I'd be
And
open
I
to
think
all
that's
three
a
catchers
really
being
good
moved.
I think that's a really good point, Adam, that maybe not enough people are paying attention to, is that I don't think this front office literally has one catcher they're shopping.
Yeah.
I think they're throwing a pretty wide net out there, and they're kind of seeing what opposing organizations value the most. And I think they're probably going to move from that standpoint, right?
Agreed. All right, so there you go. That's what to keep in mind on the catcher trade discussion front moving forward.
And we did it, Adam. Once a week, we have to go out there and put a disclaimer that we both really like Alejandro Kirk and value him as a catcher.
Yes, absolutely.
We really appreciate all of you within the walk-off community. This thing continues to grow and become an animal of its own. It's a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, we love talking Blue Jays baseball and all the interaction that you folks are involved with us. Thank you so much. Discord, feel free to join it. That is always free. The show, or the link is in the show notes. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. And if you are watching on YouTube currently and you're not subscribed, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. All the best, everybody. Cheers.